Let's go. Let's go. Zambo, my man, freaking pleasure to have you today, brother. I was saying this. We tried this last week, but Zambo's Wi Fi at the farmhouse was pretty shite. But we are back, and my most viewed podcast ever was with you. It was with your help. And I think people like just the raw conversations that you and I have when we do get together. Every phone call we have is a freaking podcast in itself. So welcome back, my brother.
Oh, it's great to be on a live mastermind. People are definitely worthy to hear this kind of stuff, man. I'm glad to share it.
100%. Zambo, this is a special time. And a special time because Apollo is going to be brought into this world. And I know you're fired up, and I haven't even really talked to you so much about this. So this is a perfect platform. But you know what I was thinking about this morning? I was like, wow, one day Apollo's going to find this conversation, and this is the man that his father was 4 months before he brought him into this world. He's getting a glimpse into Andrew Zambetti, the man that you created that is bringing this child into this world. And he's going to see the world through a vision of your eyes right now. And I was getting all philosophical about it. I'm like, wow, our dads never had this type of stuff, like this technology. So I wanted to ask with a question. I know this is going to go down a cool conversation, but what would you, let's just say we're talking to Apollo right now. What would you want to put into your son's mind from Andrew Zambetti, from what you went through at 32 years of age?
Wow. Well, that's a great question. And, everything that I've put online and done in my life, I actually had that forward thinking kind of in mind. And that's why I was so sad when my YouTube went down, because I actually made my YouTube when I was 18 years old with the idea that my future kids and those kids were going to be watching that. So with that being said, what I would want Apollo to know is just the best way to live is to live on the righteous path. Kind of what we were going to talk about last week on this podcast, which is if you live the right way, you get the best life ever and the best results and the best thing for the world. So it's nothing that you have to choose between. You don't have to choose between doing what's best for you, doing what's best for other people, or best for your money, or best for your body. Literally everything all intertwines to be the best for everything. Your enjoyment, how good you feel, the woman you can get, everything. If you just do the right stuff, life made it so simple for you to get what you want. And God is so giving that if you just simply do the right thing, you can't not win. If you just do the right thing, you'll always win.
Yeah. Why do you think we call it the righteous path?
Well, I got that from a good friend of mine because I was saying living the right way. But when you say that, people can take that as maybe like an ego trip or that, oh, my way's the wrong way. And so really, as long as you live the righteous path, the righteous is more so living on a positive direction. Anything positive can be righteous, but not everything right can be positive.
So in lieu with living positively, having a positive response to life, what else in for you has worked to be on the righteous path? Because one thing we started the last conversation about is you've always been in really good shape, and you've always been a man of discipline, and you've always been on top of personal development from a very young age. So you've really lived this righteous path, and you've created it. And it's not just an idea that you have right now that you think would be good for a future generation. No, it's something that's been lived. And it speaks through your presence and who you are as a man and your body and everything. So what is a culmination of what is the righteous path?
Yeah. So I call it the best life ever, which is you wake up at a good time before the sun comes up. You wake up with your body. Your body should be waking up right around before the sun comes up, if not a good amount before that. You work out, get your mind right, get your blood right, get everything in tune with you. The working out is one of the best parts because it's the one thing you can do in life that doesn't require anyone else, and you can win in it every single day. And then after that, you get your meditation in, you get your prayer in, you get your reading in, and this order can be a little bit mixed up. It doesn't have to be exact. But before you touch your phone, you got to get everything in order. So more importantly, with this day and age, we have to take things away from ourselves more than add things in. So I can go more into what we need to be doing, such as soon as you're done eating, you go out, you hit the field, you start working, you start making your phone calls, you do what you need to do, come back home, you eat again, you do a second workout, maybe do some stretching, whatever, spend some time with your girlfriend, wife, socializing, friends, kids, everything that you do there, and then go to sleep, praying, meditating, and focusing. But
Mm.
the thing that's going to get in the way of that is going to be the phone, the TV, especially the phone. Just everything to do with all these distractions. That's what's going to get in the way of that. That will actually kill you. The bad foods, especially the drugs. I mean, that is just so far wrong that it's like almost overlooked in my mind. But yeah, I mean, the drugs and maybe even like alcohol and all the other stuff, like
Yep.
that stuff is so. Listen to this, man. I wanted a gummy last night. I was like craving a gummy. So I go into my vitamin drawer and I see a vitamin, so I take it. Turns out it's a melatonin gummy. Bro, I haven't done caffeine or melatonin in years. So like, I couldn't even drive. I had to have my wife drive us to Tampa because like halfway through I'm actually tripping out. Like I'm seeing life in frames and it screwed me up. That's why I had to take a nap before this because I mean sometimes I do just have to take a nap before 12 o'clock anyway. But yeah, I was screwed up from this since last night.
Yeah,
And
you're just all natural.
that's the thing that we're dealing with now is there's just so many things that can take us off the path that if we simply just don't do the things that will hurt us, no matter how small, if it's not ideal, it's unideal,
Yep.
we'll naturally just fly.
I had someone ask me the other day. Um, there you go. Broke out for a sec. I
Yeah.
had someone ask me the other day what you need to be in routine and have a good routine and live a good life here in Medellin. And I said, well, it's not really about what you do. It's about what you don't do. And especially in very temptive environments like living in Medellin, Colombia, where every girl you see is absolutely beautiful. There's a lot of things that you can do all the time. There's a lot of distractions here. There's a lot of party because it's a party city. But as long as you stay out of those things, then it's easier to stay on the righteous path and on the path. I want to take a little bit of a step back. You had said that so you wake up, you do your morning stuff, but sometimes the routine you allow freedom in that a little bit. You know what I mean by that? Can you allow on
Yeah.
that? Are you very regimented or do you have freedom within it?
I have the outline. So it's kind of like a sales pitch. I have the outline, but I can improvise as I need to. Like, for example, today, I didn't really need to do a hard workout today. I accidentally did a death set yesterday. You know what a death set is. For the viewers who don't know what a death set is, I was on the ground praying to God, asking for mercy and for me to deliver me from judgment. Literally, this sounds dramatic. It kind of is, but it was a nasty air bike session. I didn't mean to even do it, but nonetheless, it happened. And I had a hard workout after that. And so, yeah, today in the gym, I just like did my hip mobility stuff. I did some pull ups. Like, I mean, it was
Yeah,
nothing. So yeah,
very important.
yeah. So that can be kind of improvised with. What can't be changed is I'm not going to not go to the gym. That's
Yeah.
just not in the equation. Like you have to get the blood flowing. You have to work out. Like you have to do something to get your blood moving and to stay on the routine. Other than that, you can do what you need to do.
What is the assault bike just for the listeners so they can try this out? Can you walk them through that real quick?
Yeah, I was trying to just do something medium. So yesterday I was just thinking, I'm not really feeling a full out sprint today. So what I'll do is I'll just do one 20-second hard air bike sprint and then the rest to 50 calories. And still a 20-second sprint is no joke. But I did that and then I was like, okay, I'll just do medium to 50 calories. But as I was seeing it go, I was able to get I was like, I can hit 50 calories before this 2 minute hits. And I did it in like a minute and 50 seconds. And that was brutal because the most I'd ever done ever was 50 calories in a minute, 7 seconds. And that was a life changing experience. So, yeah, even though I was just trying to go medium, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, man, I've done that a few times. I had a workout recently. It was back from the assault bike to the rower, and you had to keep hitting 20 cals in under a minute, which adds up, is a lot.
Yeah,
I
it's
want,
really important. It's real quick. It's really important for everyone who's watching this to know that you have to push yourself to the point where you meet God sometimes. Because if you never do that, how do I put it? Like if that hadn't have happened to me yesterday, I would be less humble. Like if that wouldn't have happened, my body wouldn't grow. So you spend an hour and some of these guys spend 2 hours in the gym. I never spend 2 hours in the gym. The most amount of time I ever spend in the gym is 1 hour. Usually it's about 20 to 30 minutes. That's my friends who work out with me. They say they really appreciate that It's like, oh man, I love how when we work out, we just go and we hit it and we're done because we're business guys. We don't need to spend all day in there. But the thing is, a lot of the people watching this, if you're one of these people that spends an hour or 2 hours in the gym, you're usually doing 2 hours of nothing because you can't do 2 hours of death set. You can't even do 2 minutes of death set. Like, what are you doing in there for 2 hours? Just get the job done. Go in there and get the job done. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're just in there for no reason, wasting your time. So stop wasting your time. Just get the job done.
Yep. It's like in business, it's taking a Zoom call with someone just because it feels like work, but you're actually not getting anything done. You're not being effective with it. So you see that a lot. It's like, how do we be the most effective within this time that we're in the gym? That's actually why I like CrossFit, because it's just effective. It's an effective hour. And then I get the fuck out of there. I don't even need to think about it. Um, why do you think doing these really hard things, you do them on a consistent basis, like let's use the workout as an example. So if you do a death set, what does that do for you the rest of the day? You had mentioned being humble, but what else does that do for you?
Oh, I mean, you get high from it. You get high from it. But really, that's not even why I do it. Those are some of the unforeseen benefits that end up happening when you do that kind of thing. I mean, the main reason why I work out is because I love to feel my life. I love my life. I want to see my potential, and I can't stand to not be my best when it's so simple to do because it's completely in my control. See, I grew up playing football and basketball and running track, but I wanted to go to the NBA. And you realize when you play a sport like basketball or even like hockey or some of these really skilled sports, no matter how athletic you are, no matter how good in shape you get, like there's only you have to be a certain level of good that if you're just not good enough, like you just won't make it. And I wasn't athletic enough or good enough to even come close to the NBA. And that sucked. But like I worked as hard as I could to try to go to the NBA. So I have a real appreciation for things that as hard as I work in it, I will get that level of a result. I really appreciate that because in sports and some of the other things in life, it's not like that. But this is one of the rare things that it's actually like that, where if you go hard in it with working out, with training your body, with training your mind, you'll actually get exactly that back out. There's no limits to that. And you'll reach your full potential. There's no skill level you had to have to reach your full potential. You can actually just do that by going harder. There's no excuse.
And with the other areas of your life, when you think about challenges, because you continuously put yourself through a challenge in the gym, does your business challenges, relationship challenges, do they feel a little bit easier to handle? And if you've ever had a season when you haven't been so consistent in the gym, which I doubt it, but how do those other challenges feel?
Well, I can tell you, I mean, nothing will make you feel like nothing is scary than going to an MMA gym, as you know. You go into a fight gym and it's just one of the most, it's just a weird experience. And after that, no door to door, no cold call, no corporate meeting, none of that stuff ever compares. Talking to any girl, doesn't matter. If you can go in there and basically risk your life, your whole pride and just push yourself as hard as you can, then everything else just comes easy in life.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on masculinity in men today? I'm very curious
I think it's
from you.
I think it's a heyday for guys like us. If I hadn't have found a girl that's just absolutely perfect for me, I wouldn't have married her because it's just like so easy to just take over the world today in every single setting, like in an athletic setting, in a social setting, in a dating setting. Like it's just a cheat code because all you have to do is just not jerk off and not watch porn and just not kill yourself. Like as long as you just basically don't kill yourself and you just simply have your balls still intact, you will just reap so many rewards. It's actually crazy. Like let yourself be a little bit bored, be able to sit on a couch without going on your phone, be able to go talk to a girl, be able to say what you want to say and feel as good as you want to and be present. If you can just simply have the courage to be present, you win. It didn't used to be like that. I think even 10 years ago, it didn't used to be like that. I think even 10 years ago, you actually had to equip a little bit of charisma in there and maybe even like have a little bit of status to you and maybe like something going for you in your life. Now you could just be like, in theory, you could just be like some broke guy that doesn't even work out. You could literally be fat. And as long as you still have your balls intact, you'll still win. It didn't used to, I don't think it used to be like that. I know it didn't used to be like that. So yeah, it's just like the best time in the world to ever be a real man. However, I hate that because you know, it's almost like no fun to win at that point.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like, wow, like what am I? Am I actually even good? I don't even know if I'm good anymore.
Yeah.
Like
When
I
we
used to,
see another stud, we get fired up and it's like,
yeah,
yes, another stud, another guy getting after it.
yeah. It's no fun to win against guys. It's like no fun to win against children. Like you're playing against kids. So yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
how I feel. What do you think?
I agree. It's like this quote, hard times create strong men create easy times create weak men. And I just think right now that because life, especially for Americans, has been quite easy the last 60 years, 50 years, but the generation before that built it so it was easier. And now people are just weak. And they don't know they are as well. They don't really have the awareness of it, which is dangerous because if you don't have awareness of an unconscious pattern or emotion or feeling, you're never gonna fix anything of it. So it's like a lot of people are kind of just walking zombies right now, going through life and thinking that it's normal to complain about things, thinking it's normal to not have, in your words, the best life ever. It's just it's crazy to me. People are just living in this victimhood, and I think that's, for men at least, I can only speak for men because I'm a man, but for men at least, I think that could be a lack of masculinity within our society right now that's leading to this victimhood and to this fairly weak men that aren't even really sure they are weak because they're still able to win, like what you were talking about.
Yeah, yeah, and I think a lot of it stems from social media too, because I remember whenever we were going to college, Instagram was for girls. Remember that? Like Instagram was kind of like, oh, like posting pictures of yourself. Like, why would you ever do that? That's kind of strange. But now, but now all guys are doing that, and it's not wrong to do that. But the way a lot of guys are doing their social media, it's like they're trying to look good on it. Some of them are literally trying to be models, which is just it's something you couldn't even think about doing 10 years ago or more.
Yeah.
And then you see then you see it with our professional athletes, where back in the day, bro, we used to look up to guys like Kobe Bryant and even the old school LeBron James, like he was a G. Of course, we had Michael Jordan, and we had
Allen
like some of
Iverson.
yeah, Allen Iverson, like Brian Urlacher. Like we had some like real savage kind of guys in the NFL and the NBA, and like even the early UFC world. And now it's turned into this. It's so known as an entertainment business that the MMA fighters now, they're like trying to gain followers, and I guess because they have to, but like they really don't have to, but like that's how you kind of win that game. So they're trying to like talk the best at the press conference, they're trying to show the best on social media, and just everything is just turned really attention seeking, which is just not, it's cringy, man. I hate to see it. I guess you could say it's
Yeah.
unmasking. It's just weird,
Yeah, it
and that's
is
what guys are
weird. And
growing up to.
yeah. And it's weird. And I was thinking about this a lot recently. And it's, we're now the old men that are hating on the generation. That the older people always think the generation under them is just stupid or retarded and weird. But in lieu with kind of what you're saying on these UFC fighters and this, because I can see it as well. And Conor McGregor and these type of guys who were badasses did kind of set the frame for that because to their, if we were in the position, we'd probably do it as well because it means brand deals, and these type of things. Maybe we wouldn't, maybe we would. There are a couple of these Russian guys that don't give a fuck about it and just go out there and put the hammer down. And then the Russians are savages for that.
Yeah. But then as soon
So,
as they lose, they stop getting the deals. That's the problem, and that you get
yeah,
punished for not being gay. It's weird. You said something that's, oh yeah. But anyways, there is a lot of young guys though that I'm meeting, whether it's in the gym or the pool out there or wherever, and they are just like us, and they turned like us a lot sooner than we even developed into guys like us. For example, because they see a lot of guys their age caring about the wrong stuff and just being just weird, they are being so hardcore in the right direction. It's awesome. It's part of me. I'm wondering how it's going to turn out for them because they're not like partying at all. They're not drinking at all. Like they're going to church, bro. I didn't even consider going to church till I was like 28. These kids are in college going to church. I mean, I love it, but I just think it's a crazy thing. So it's kind of like the rich get richer. I think because things got so dropped down, at least in the media, everyone's perception is like, oh, things are so bad. No, I will tell you, there's actually more greatness out there right now in the younger generation than I think there was with us. Because whenever I was around, like whenever we were around in college, I was like one of the only guys at the entire college doing business. You know, I was one of the only guys that didn't really like to drink. I just did it because I wanted to get laid.
yeah,
Now Now, like, they're doing run clubs and they're like doing yoga at the Pike House. I was like, I thought I would never, I thought these two didn't mix. I can't even believe some of the things I see when I go online these days and I talk to some of the younger Pike brothers and I meet some of these guys that go to UT here. I just cannot believe some of the things they're thinking and saying. And it's going to be really interesting to see where they are in like 5 years and even longer.
That is a really cool perspective because there's always multiple sides to things. And we kind of started with the very maybe toxic in social media or Instagram, but then there's these people that are doing run clubs and doing yoga in the Pike House. And there's also been a trend of people that aren't drinking as much alcohol. And I know you've never really drank much alcohol, but where do you think that's stemming from?
Me not drinking?
Yeah, like there's the younger generation is doing alcohol-free things. Because when I was growing up in my 20s, it was partying, drinking alcohol, going out to nightclubs. Maybe that was the environments that I was in, and maybe all along there was these run clubs and this type of yoga stuff. But for me, it was part of business almost was going out and partying and being in these social settings where there's a lot of alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could just think of a theory right now. I bet you they're looking at some of the older guys like us. And how many 30-year-old guys do you know that look like us and that are like us? It's just, I don't know about you, but it's like 90% of the guys I know my age, I don't really know much of them that are in shape at all. Like half of them can't run a sprint anymore because they haven't done it in a few years, let alone be fat, let alone if they even have any money to their name. They don't even have a house. And it's not, and not because they're traveling, living a good life like you, just because they can't afford it. So I think they kind of look at where that being cool led them. You know, being cool of going out partying led them to be single. You know, no social skills because they were trying to develop their social skills drunk and
Yeah,
broke and out of shape, and they're ugly and truly like the human specimen, male and female, is meant to look good, and they don't look good. And so I
yeah.
think maybe the theory is that they're seeing some of these people online and like where it led to. I don't know though. I guess I couldn't really tell you.
Yeah. I want
Might
to
be
pivot a
cool.
little bit.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you about what you're doing. You started doing consulting, and you've always kind of done this. You've always ran sales teams very, very effectively. By the way, for the listeners here, very, very effective leader. And what you're doing with these new organizations that you're working with, you're coming in and you're making some really big changes, like doubling, tripling, quadrupling, maybe 10xing revenue. I'll let you speak on that. But I've been seeing it. We've been communicating about it. So I would love to hear kind of what you're doing and go deep into the philosophy behind what you're doing with these guys.
I appreciate it, man. So yeah, after I didn't have the solar company anymore that we were a part of, I was still trying to help guys out, but I was essentially just trying to do it for free here and there, just give them some advice here and there. And because it was for free, I wouldn't really put the time into people to actually change them and help them. And so I was thinking like, I never wanted to charge for advice because it feels wrong. It feels like when you get blessed with good experiences and good advice, you know, you should give it away for free if you can. But the thing is I wasn't really helping people anymore because when they would work for us, I would be able to spend a lot of time with them and really develop them. But now that the guys don't work for me anymore, now just giving them one little thing here and there doesn't do anything for them. And the only way I'm really going to help people out is if they pay for it and I can afford the time and the energy to really put it into them. So now I've got a guy that I'm training and he's trying to be a pro motocross rider. He could barely finish a race before he came with me 3 months ago. And now he's won a couple races. So he went from not even being in shape enough to be able to complete a race to now winning first place in two different races, and he's hopefully on
What?
track to being. Yeah, he hopefully in a couple. He's only 15, but hopefully in a couple of years he'll be a pro. He's on track to be a pro. And then yeah, I had a company work with me that they were. How do I put it? It was like a bomb got set off in their company. It's like weird how bad it was, and
Yeah.
in 1 month they exploded with me and now and they over 3x'd their revenue in 1 month, and they were already over 1 year old before that. So it's not like I took some 1 month old company and 3x'd them. Like they were already there, like doing what they were doing. I just came in and added some systems and what I needed to do and got them there. And then there's been guys that just couldn't maintain a relationship or just couldn't get a girl in general, and then they get over their ex, they end up being able to meet tons of women. And so really what I do now with my consulting is any area in life, because that's what life's all about, is not just money, not just athletics, not just relationships. It's all of them. No matter what area of life it is, I want to be able to get you to the top of it.
And it's very diverse because you're working with a 15-year-old that you're getting him to be able to finish races in motocross. You're working with big organizations, then you're working with guys that maybe want to be more confident to talk to women. So, I mean, you're all over the board, which shows how dynamic you are. Is there a common theme with what you do with these people?
Let me think. Well, yeah, there is. The one common theme is they have to submit to God. Truly, I mean, they all do different things to get to where they need to go, action-wise. But the
Like,
overall
can
mindset,
you elaborate on that? Like Jesus Christ or just God? I'll let you,
yeah,
but if you could.
yeah, the creator of the universe. It's not tied to a single religion, and people might hate to hear that, but you really just, if you were just planted on this earth today, you knew nothing. You knew nothing. You were just like, you didn't even know what a human was. You were just planted here on this earth. You would have an understanding of what God is. Just as a blank human being, you would know. Because you would just, your mind would kind of wonder. You wouldn't necessarily have the word God, but you would understand, like, something created me. Like, something created all of this. And that's what I help people tap into, because it's not for a moral reason, even though there is moral reasons. It's not for a principal reason, even though there are principal reasons. The reason why is because it helps you get the results the best. That's why.
How
If you
so?
want,
Because
yeah, if you want to get results, you have to have God in your life. And even the people who get results that don't have God in their life, they would get way more if they did have God. So it's like, oh, well, this guy doesn't believe in this or whatever. It's like, well, he would just be that much better if he did. Okay. And so when you have God in your life, your mind frees up, you become present, you become the best version of yourself. And then most importantly, as you've all experienced, magical things happen. Just like that, for example, like the last door of the day. How does the last door of the day that you just stuck out your commitment, how does that one always lead to a sale? How does the time that you meet a girl when you're most scared to meet her turn out to be the time that you did the best, and the time that you were not scared at all turned out to just be the worst? How does that work out? Like, so you get the magic of God on your side whenever you believe in God.
when someone says, "Hey, do you have faith?" And I like that saying, because it's, you have faith. You have faith in God, but also what I think God gives me is faith, and understanding this connection and that this is there. It gives me faith and trust, and that things are going to work out even when they're challenging, and trust that God is on my side as I'm going throughout the day. Maybe things feel uncertain, but it's all good because I got God on my side. And when
Yeah,
you can radiate that.
and you must have a ton of faith, because you're like living just so free. When the more free you live, the more faith you have to have. One of the questions I've been dying to
Yeah.
ask you for a while is, I know you want a family one day. I know you want to have your dynasty that you build. How has it been just meeting women and having that faith as you're living in another country, just not having a solidified place to live, but still, living great, but just not in a setting where you could at the moment raise a family? Yeah, how have you been doing that with faith?
Yeah. And it's a really beautiful question. It kind of connects to when you said you must have a lot of faith because of how free I am. And one thing that I want to do when I bring children into this world is to show them how free you can be while being in this world. So I just know, and I have faith that the women I meet that will mother my children is going to have the same type of faith I do, and has this trust in the universe, and wants to live freely, does not want to live in handcuffs or feel like we need to do certain things. Because to me, that's the importance of living an amazing life, is having freedom and being able to really do whatever I want. I think about this sometimes. If someone comes up to me on the street, see this on social, and they're like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And I just always think, whatever I want, really. I just do whatever I want.
And
And
it's easier said than done to do that.
it's easier said than done to do that. And I don't like that the society has tricked us into thinking that we can't do whatever we want. I've made a lot of money and I've done whatever I want. And a lot of times you want to make money as a man, but create the lifestyle and create the habits that are going to lead to you wanting to make money. Because if you live bad habits, you're going to want to go do drugs. You're going to want to go do party. You're going to want to go do bad things because that's your frequency. So I
Yeah.
want to live great.
You know, and speaking about doing whatever you want, the reason why I got married to Polina is because I told her before we got married, I was like, you know, there's one vow that I made because I wrote my vows back in 2018. I found them before I got married, and I was like, one of the vows was I'll never be tempted, and I was just struggling with that because I'm like, what if like I'm 60 years old and I'm tempted one day? Like I can't commit to never being tempted, so I talked to her about it. I'm like, look, there's this one vow I know I can't commit to. I might be tempted one day, and it's not that I want to do these things. Just like, look, it's just in the course of a lifetime, things might happen. I don't know. And she just goes, look, I trust you. I have full trust in you. And, you know, my life is in your hands, and I know you'll do the right thing with it. And because she gave me that freedom, I naturally just wanted to commit to her and love her even better. But had she have maybe demonized me or judged me or told me like, oh no, like we can't get married then, or just anything like that, it wouldn't have worked because I would have felt like I was forced to do something. But simply, it's funny because if you're forced to do something, you naturally just can't do it. But if you're made to be free, then you'll naturally just be committed. So it's kind of like you were asking me one time on the last podcast, you're like, how do you stay disciplined? I couldn't not be disciplined. I know that I have the freedom. You know you have the freedom, but I would never want to do the wrong thing. See, if you tell a kid that, like we were talking about Marvin Marinovich's kid, the Robo QB or whatever, dude, that kid he had no freedom. So he did become an NFL quarterback eventually, which is insane. But he ended up, because his dad, for the viewers who don't know, his dad had him on the most regimented childhood on earth. But he ended up becoming like a crackhead. As soon as he got to the NFL, he couldn't handle it. Pleasure took hold of him. He couldn't do it. He didn't want to do crack. He didn't want to do heroin or whatever the heck he was doing. But because he was forced to do one thing for so long, he just ended up just wanting to explore the other side so bad. It seemed like something he wanted to do.
Yeah, this leads to effectiveness as well, because I've learned, even with business, if I was a part of a team in my early business days, let's say in solar, and there was a leader that was very like controlling and needed things and didn't allow me to have freedom, I wouldn't perform well under that leader. But if I had a leader that showed trust, I was like, oh, I'm going to go to war for this guy. I'm a beast because he trusts me. So it's interesting how that can show up there too.
Dude, I had this one guy, and he was at my house, and he's like, man, some days I just wish I could just sleep all day, but no one will let me like take a nap or something. Because I take naps. Like even before this podcast, I was like, yo, dude, like I'm ready to rock right now, but like if you got something to do for a little bit, I can finish this nap out. You're like, yeah, go for it. But so anyways, I was talking about naps with this guy, and he just felt like he could never take a nap because he would just be made out to be some criminal for taking a nap. And I was like, look, man, go in the room, sleep all day. And he was like, okay, I'll go sleep. He slept for a while. He comes out. I was like, what are you doing, bro? Go back in the room and keep sleeping. Keep taking a nap. And then he like went back in. And after the second time of that happening, he's like, bro, I'm good on the naps. Like I don't need one anymore. But because you allowed me the freedom, he said this, because you allowed me the freedom to actually take a nap, now I don't feel the need to just like sleep around all day anymore. Now I can just actually go out and live. Like I want to live now. You couldn't force me to be in the bed.
That's really unique, because this goes back to, I'd asked you earlier, what is it that you do with your clients? And I've seen this with you, and you've been a very close friend of mine and a mentor of mine for a really long time. And I've seen this with you where you usually lead by example with things, and it's very intuitive. So do you kind of do that with your clients as well? Is it very intuitive? A lot of people have these. It's like, okay, I'm going to put them through this, then this, and they have this system that they kind of just replicate, that maybe it works or maybe they're not so adaptable with it. But is that kind of what you do?
Yeah, I sometimes when I'm training people, I'm like, I can't believe I get paid for this. It's like, how did you not know to do this? Like, I'm telling you to get sunlight and take a nap. I'm like telling you to, when you pitch someone, I'm essentially teaching them how not to be weird. I'm like telling you to meet with your team every day. Like it's just some of the things I can't believe I'm telling people to do. I can't believe it. It's so intuitive. But the thing is, yeah, that's what drugs do to us and the main drug is, my phone's not even here, but like the main phone is our drug. I mean, the main drug is our phone. And it's just
Yeah.
this mind warping machine. If you're on drugs all day, every day, which if you look at your screen time, it's insane that most people are. This isn't some slow building thing where it's like, oh yeah, like a little bit here and there. It's just added up over time. By the time he's 70 years old, now he's got dementia. No, like every single day you're doing hardcore drugs, like 4 to 7 hours a day of the phone. Each day is doing insane damage to you. Well, no wonder they can teach you that boys are girls now and that girls are boys. It's no wonder that they can have blatantly racist policies in the government and tell you that it's to protect against racism. Like, they can't think straight. People can't think straight anymore. And then even the people that can kind of think straight with a little bit of intuition and common sense, even they're drugged. Even they have like 5 to 7 hours of the phone per day. So even you can't think straight to know to freaking carry your balls, get some sunlight, pray, get some good sleep, work out, and go to work every day, and all your problems will be solved. That's what it's come down to today. I'm not special. I just don't kill myself.
That was gangster.
Basically,
Besides the phone. Yeah, it makes me upset too. Besides
Yeah.
the phone, what are some other drugs that we're taking? Caffeine, go through a few of them.
I see less people taking caffeine these days, but yeah, caffeine's a big one. Soda is like, how could you drink soda? It's just liquid sugar and poison put together. So, especially because there's a lot of good alternatives too, by the way. Like, for example, a good alternative to caffeine is just take a quick nap or even a long nap. Who cares? Just take a nap. Get enough sleep at night. Also with soda, you can do sparkling flavored water. That's not bad at all. I even like that sometimes. Another one is people do a lot of carbs for their meals, and that's not. They say, oh yeah, this has protein in it. Protein in it is not protein. Okay, you understand? Just because yogurt has protein in it doesn't mean that it's protein. You need protein. You need meat. You need actual substance with your meat. How are you going to run your body, your entire body, unless you're freaking a tiny little man? How are you going to run if you don't
Off
have...
Yoplait.
Huh?
Off Yoplait. Just getting some Greek in.
Eating Lunchables or like eating sandwiches. Like, what is a sandwich? You're just eating a bread with 3 slices of meat in it. So, it's because you're paying. People will pay to not be a leader. People will pay for People will pay to have someone else cook that for them at a restaurant, even though the food is basically poison and the food is just trash. And even the good restaurants, they're making money off of giving you the slave food. The slave food for the slave class is bread and sugar and that kind of stuff. All that like filler food. That's the food they're trying to fill you up on to make the money. When you go to McDonald's, and McDonald's is a horrible example, but if you go to McDonald's, they don't make their money as much on the burger. Now I think they do. But back in the day, they would make their money off the soda. They make their money off the cheap crap. So these restaurants make their money off the cheap crap. Anyway, I don't even know what got us on this subject. Basically, you got to eat real food. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I had one point that I actually want to go a little bit deeper on this because it's a good point. Because you're talking at a point right now at your experience. It's like when you see someone rich online and you're like, okay, I got to replicate exactly what they do because they have it right. No, you don't want to replicate what they're doing right now. You want to replicate what they did 20 years ago. So as I'm listening to this, I'm like, wow, he's talking about not eating McDonald's, not eating soda. That's like good. That would be good for some of these people if they only ate McDonald's and only ate soda. But a lot of these people are doing Adderall. They're drinking nightly. They're taking nicotine things to get them to this other level of a dopamine hit high that helps them complete a task for 30 minutes. So they're like in survival mode at that point. So let's speak to them for a second. What do these people have to do to even get back to this point? Because that's when you can start having a relationship with God that you were talking about earlier if you're coming from a natural state.
Yeah, I mean, that just reminds me, I totally overlooked the TRT guys, the steroid guys, which TRT is steroids. They just had a doctor tell you it's TRT, not steroids. Well, what do you think steroids does? Steroids put testosterone in your body. What is TRT? Puts testosterone in your body. It's just a lower version of a steroid. It's just steroids. You're taking steroids. And so guys, I talk to a lot of guys, and it's just crazy how many guys, they're like, oh yeah, I have low testosterone, as if it's like something like height, that they're just, that's it. That's it for them. And yeah, no, if you start doing these drugs, like if you start doing too much caffeine, if you start doing things to help you focus with like these adaptogens, like Tonga Ali and ashwagandha, like all these things are scientifically studied to make you boost this, bro. Just because it gives you a result doesn't mean it's good for you. Because just because it gives you a result, like where did that result come from? That's why I was so hesitant to take Shilajit, because I was like, oh yeah, this thing is supposed to boost your testosterone. I would never take a test booster. Well, what does it do to make you actually boost your testosterone? Well, Shilajit is just so nutritious. It has so many random vitamins that we don't naturally get, so many minerals that are hard to find and in such high potent and absorbable qualities, that it actually makes you feel so much better and so much healthier that your testosterone goes up. You can't say the same thing for these natural herbs. They are natural and they are herbs. But what they're doing is they're making your body have, here's the end result to your body. Your body's not making it anymore. Here's the end result to your body. Therefore, your body stops making it on its own. And then what does that sound like? You build a tolerance. What is a tolerance? You're reliant. This is now your God. This is now what you need to survive. Instead of God being what you need to survive, which will give you everything, now you're reliant on this drug, this caffeine, going to freaking Starbucks, taking a shot. That's now your drug, except that's now your God, except it's not God. It's just going to make you feel normal now. It's just going to make you not feel bad. That's all it's going to do for you, is make you not feel bad. So if you're in that position, I'm not trying to make you feel like you're a bad person, but you need to get off of that. The withdrawals are going to be tough because you're going to have to go down before you get better. But once you go down and you stop taking that, your body's going to wake up. It's going to be like a dog that's not getting food. Oh, well, what do I have to do to get food? If I don't feed my dog for a while, that dog will learn a new trick. Okay? If you don't take your drugs for a while, your body, what do I have to do? And you will start, essentially, whether you're meaning to or not, you'll be praying for an answer. You'll just do it unconsciously if you don't even know you're doing it. And the answers will come to you. You'll start living right naturally, and you'll get yourself back on track to where you're better than you were before with the drugs, without the drugs, and with everything else in your life helping you at the same time. So you basically get everything if you do the right thing, or you get it better, or you get nothing if you do the wrong thing, and you get whatever you do get, you get it worse. That's literally what your options are. It's obvious what to pick.
You just broke down addiction in such a beautiful way. And it connects to addiction, not just to the things that we tend to think addiction is, like heroin, drugs, alcohol, these type of things. Social media is becoming a awared addiction. People have awareness of this, that they're addicted to it. But you go down such a point that little things, even, and I know we've talked about this before, you can even get addicted to personal development, where you're only doing personal development. And I think you and I have both gone down this. And then you maybe aren't implementing as much, or you're just trying to learn new things. So anything can be an addiction if you use it too much. And you had said something so important, which is you become reliant of it. Can you go a little bit deeper into that on how we become reliant to even things that we are told is good for us?
Oh man, well, you hit me on the head when you said addicted to social media. Addicted to personal development, because I remember whenever I was in college and I discovered personal development. This is what happens with all addictions. It helps you really, really greatly in the beginning, or just a little bit, just gives you a boost. And then it starts to steal from you. But it was such a good high at the beginning, you don't want to give it up. So for me with personal development, I would do it and boom, I would get these massive gains. But as I got older, as I got to 23, I started to see the returns diminish a lot. 24, the returns were pretty much almost gone. It was just like, now I'm reading autobiographies. They're like the last kind of levels of personal development is autobiographies. And then after the autobiographies, I was like 25, really scraping the marginal benefits, if any. 25 and on, no benefits other than just maybe a little touch up to keep me on track here and there. I definitely wasn't learning anything new. But why did I keep doing it for 5 to 6 more years? Why? I was addicted to it. And it was easier for me to stay addicted to it and say I was doing something good than to face the reality that I needed to actually just do more work and put it into action. It's a lot easier to learn something than it is to do something. So learning is 50%, but the harder 50% to do is to execute on it. And that's the thing that takes a lot of courage and leadership. So with any addiction, you got to take the execution and take that seriously, because that's the only way you're going to get rid of it, and just take the good.
One part of addiction, one part of addiction is we tend to consciously make excuses of why we need the addiction. Now, I can think of a few for personal development. Obviously, it's just like, oh, maybe there's new things out there, and you start to create these excuses of why you need to go back to your addiction, go back to your personal development, and that takes you out of actually doing what you need to do and what you know works and what's going to work for your life path and life purpose. So when those kind of thoughts did come up, and I'm sure they still come up, when maybe, and I know you still do personal development, you probably have better control of your addiction to personal development. It's kind of funny saying it. But
Yeah.
when those thoughts come up of when you know you need to just take action on something, but, oh, should I go study it more? Should I go learn from this guy? Do those thoughts still come up for you? Those addictive thoughts?
Sometimes they do, but I am so aware that they're excuses now. And I'll tell you, the thing that tricks people the most, I'll talk to all the high level guys like us that are listening to this right now, is that what's being preached as the right answer for the masses is not the right answer for you almost 99% of the time. So what they preach to the masses is, don't go out, don't party, do personal development, make sure you're reading books. Yeah, they all these types of advice, they're good for the guy who needs to get off the couch. But you, as a high level guy, no, you need to leave your house, bro. Like, you need to go out to a bar sober and go talk to people. You need that, because if you don't, you will do what I did, and you will spend literally over 5 years of your life basically locked in a prison, and it's not going to help you. It's going to hurt you in business. You're going to lose your flow. It's going to be really weird. Like, you need to make sure you keep that side of you alive. Okay, you have proven that you'll work. You can now make sure you have some fun with it too. Personal development. You don't feel like you need to learn these things, because a lot of these things, they're just bonuses. What good is a bonus without the core? The core is just putting in the work. The core is doing the work, getting the job done. The bonuses are just going to help you a little bit do the work. But if you already know the bonuses, you don't need the bonuses anymore. What am I telling you? You know everything. I made a video on this in 2022 when I just got so sick of people telling me, be a student for life. Like, because I keep hearing this about, be a student for life, keep learning, blah, 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 blah. And like, I fell for that. I did it because I was like, yeah, whatever it takes for me to get rich and be successful, I will do it. And then I kept doing it, and I'm like, dude, this doesn't seem right. Oh, but I'm cocky, I'm a bad guy, I'm arrogant if I feel like I know enough to get the job done. Why would I not know enough to get the job done? I've been studying this stuff for 10 years. I've been studying this stuff more than I even went to school. So you're not being arrogant, you're being smart for understanding you know enough. At some point you graduate high school, bro. At some point you do graduate college. At some point you do graduate personal development. At some point you do. It doesn't mean that you take the lessons and you forgo them. You take the lessons and you instill them, and sometimes you remind yourself of them in your own ways with the journals, maybe with a special video, maybe a mastermind with your brother Ethan. But at the end of the day, you got to graduate and take that and do the core foundation, not the bonus. The core foundation is the work and applying it in all aspects of your life.
And it's like unapologetically implementing. When we learn new things, sometimes we're almost shy to implement it. But it's just unapologetically implementing what it is that I know. Going out and taking action, just taking the next move, starting it. Stop letting the thoughts come in that take you away from taking action. No, it's just like, you know it. Now go fucking do it. That's the next step, is to do. Not to keep learning and learning other things. That's going to confuse you and take away from your ability to do. You're like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? No, just go fucking do what's going to work. And then by nature, you're going to learn what works and what doesn't work. And then it's coming from you, from source, from God, from your God.
And what you said is so key, because if you learn from your own experience, it's actually a much more rooted learning lesson. And you can have failures. It's totally fine. I view failure as fine as long as I learn from it. No failure is bad. It's just if you don't learn from the failure, that's bad. That's failing in vain. But I didn't know pretty much anything. Like there was not all this information like there is now. And if there was, it was really like kind of boring to get to it and learn it. But whenever we were growing up with personal development, it wasn't as entertaining as it is now. And it wasn't as direct as it is now. And so essentially we had to go out and we had to make a lot of mistakes. Like I remember being my own mentor minus a few guys on YouTube, and it all works out okay. Like it's all fine. And that's, I guess, part of the bittersweet thing when I see these young college guys that are just doing all the right things right now. I'm thinking there's no way this guy actually made any mistakes. Like there's no way this guy made the mistakes to know to live this way. He's kind of on a weak foundation, which is fine. You can always, again, like fall off and come back on and figure it out that way. It's better to know the right answer and fall off, knowing it's the right answer, than to not know the right answer at all. The sign of a good mentee is you only make the mistake one time, not 100 times. But nonetheless, to your exact point, yeah, you can go out and fail. It's totally fine.
Damn, I was fire. I wanted to pivot a little bit. I wanted to ask you, you married Paulina. You met the love of your life. We've been talking about this for a really long time, and I'm just curious for men that haven't met that person and maybe feel a little bit weird in the U.S. right now. This is a common thing. I live in Colombia, as you know, and as the listeners probably know. And out here, a lot of things that when I meet American men, they're like, I just can't. I couldn't find a wife in the U.S., and the girls are a little bit weird. They're a little bit masculine. And I'm curious your thoughts on that and how you found your baby.
Well, kind of like you, I've not really met many masculine women in America. I think if they're masculine, I think you're feminine, bro. Take a look at yourself, because I didn't have that problem no matter how many women I met. Truthfully, maybe some had a little bit more like corporate side to them, but that's about it. That goes away fast when they're around the right man. And yeah, look, I spent a lot of my years trying to find the right one, I guess you could say. And I thought it was going to be some like big magical thing. And I've told Paulina this a lot. You know, whenever I got to a certain age, here's what really happened. My best friend died, and he didn't have any kids that he left behind. And I was 30 years old, and I was just thinking, man, what if I were to die and I have no kids? And then I remembered as well, not only that, but if I were to have a kid today, I would be 50 years old by the time that kid turns 20. And that's if I had a kid today. So, shoot, I don't even have any prospects in sight. So what I started to do is I started to think, well, who would be the best mother? Who's like the woman that I get along with the most that would be the best mother? That's, of course, the hottest. Like I don't be with girls I'm not attracted to, but like who would be the best for that? Because again, I was chasing a feeling this whole time. I thought I had to feel this like fantasy, like I'm in love, blah, blah, blah. I thought I had to be like that. And come to find out that you kind of like lose that when you're a child. Like when you're a guy, you don't really like, that's not something you kind of stick with forever. That's when you're just a little kid and you're like, wow, Cinderella in the movie. And like, you're just a little kid, bro. Like you kind of got to grow out of that Hollywood stuff. I have to tell you, but that doesn't make it any less beautiful. It's still amazing, because what I ended up doing was I ended up calling Paulina one day and I'm like, look, I feel like we should have kids. And she's like, well, I would want to be married to have kids. And I was like, well, let's just like have kids there, you know? You'd be a great mom. Like we'd make amazing kids. Let's just do it. She wasn't going for it. Nonetheless, the part that I was like, yeah, maybe I'll have like multiple women that have kids with me to her. So she didn't like any of that. She was dead against all of it, of course. Well, I was like, all right, whatever. I'll just convince her. That was my idea. I was like, I'll just convince her that this will be all right. So I started kind of like seeing her more and more and more. And then over the course of time, I was just kind of thought to myself, why wouldn't I marry this woman? Like, why wouldn't I? And there was no good answer for it. And she kept on making me a better and better man. She kept on making my life better. And like I said before, I mean, I literally picked her because I thought she would be the best mom. And besides just being the best looking, like I was like, yeah, she'd just be the best mom ever, and just the best habits and like mindsets and lifestyle and everything. And so, I was like, well, I guess I could commit to her and stop hurting her. Like that would be one step. And then when I committed to her, my life got better. And then the more time I spent with her, my time got more fun, more enjoyable, better in business, which I didn't think was possible to have happen. And when it all came down to it, she made me a better man, which is one of my core life priorities in life is to always be a better man. And she actually made me the man that I could never be on my own. And that was when I knew, I was like, I need to marry this girl. I need her in my life
Mm.
because without her, I actually cannot reach the next level. Like I needed her to get to this level and to the next level after this, which I know it's out there now. I
Yeah.
especially need her for that. And so she's continuously making me a better man and making my business better, not just by helping me in life, but literally through her mind. She's actually smart. And that's a trait that I'm kind of embarrassed to say I didn't think was that important in a wife. Like I didn't want her to be stupid, but I didn't really care if she was a genius. Pauline is like a genius. Like she was like a world renowned mathematician or something in Russia or something. Like I don't know. She won competitions. I know that much. I don't know the
Badass.
names. Yeah, but anyways, here's what I'm getting at.
Real quick before you get to that, Andrew, did you
Yeah.
reject that a little bit? Her coming in and helping you be a better man? Was there a part of you, and maybe it could have came from ego, that didn't think she could help?
I didn't think she could help. I definitely wasn't opposed to her helping. I didn't think that was a possibility, though. I
Mm.
thought because I had just gotten everywhere on my own, like just me and my relationship with God and just my work, yeah, that's how I got better. But
Mm. It's
yeah,
interesting that you, and the reason I bring that up, it's interesting that you, and we've talked about relationships and women for many, many years because we've known each other. And I actually, oh, not always, but with some of the things I disagreed with you on with finding a wife. And it's interesting how you attracted what I would want, exactly like what I always talk about, where I'm seeking a woman who has this wisdom and can help me and I can derive from, she can help me get to a better place. I've always seeked that. And you kind of didn't seek that, but now you ended up finding it. It's just, it's very interesting how that played out for you. And I'm really happy that it played out for you like that as well.
I can tell you why. If I would have known how much I would love her now when I met her, I would have screwed it up. I would have got probably attached. You know, I just something would have happened where I would have like lost my swagger. You know, it's like when you're with a customer and you want that customer to like you. A lot of guys, what they do is they start like people pleasing the customer, laughing at all their jokes, doing all that stuff.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
guys
yeah,
do. Is that actually valuable? No, the customer doesn't like that. The customer wants you to be the man. The customer wants you to be so cool that they're happy that you're the one serving them in their service, their house, their business, whatever. Well, same thing with women. They don't want you to friggin' they don't want you to be like that. They want you to be so cool that that's real value, which is you being self-fulfilled on your own, your relationship with God. So anyways, it's a blessing that I didn't know how valuable that would be to me because otherwise I
yeah.
probably would screw it up. But yeah, when it comes to finding the one who's meant for you, does she make your life better and easier? Does she make you a better man? If the answer to that is yes, then you probably got the right one.
Mm. I want to wrap up with this question. You had said something earlier. You said, when I was 30 years old, I thought about this idea. Well, my best friend just died. And what if I died as well? And I didn't have a kid to leave in this world. And this might be a little bit morbid, but let's say for some reason you did die in like 5 years. We know it's not going to happen, but let's just put ourselves there. And
Yeah.
Apollo's watching this. What would you want to tell that young man, that young stud?
Oh man, you know the answers, bro. Just like we've been talking about on this whole podcast. You know what to do. Go do it, man. Go do it. You don't need me. You don't need anyone. Just go ahead and just get it done. And God will give you who you really need. God will give you
Mm.
what you really need. God will give you.
Andrew, it's a pleasure, man. Thank you for being
It's
here today.
awesome, man. Good stuff, Don. Love you, bro. God bless.
Love you, brother. Bye, everyone.